I would love to host a Teach Me at Beach Hall. I'd love to have a conference where lots of people can share those ideas.
So what I want to tell you about today is Generation Global and what we do to support young learners to develop the skills of intercultural dialogue. We run global dialogues, which is 60 minutes. We run about 500 every year, and facilitated by our training team, brings young people together on global issues, whether it be climate change, fake news and social media, political rights of girls and women. And as you can see, we do work truly globally. We have a huge number of young people participating from Asia, particularly in Indonesia and India. You can see
and we are a portfolio company of Riyadh, which is the #1 accelerator for edtech.
Okay, so you can just convey this message to your team, and it is not hard. Many online courses you might face also.
We are a training consultancy based in Dubai, and we provide certified trainings in child protection, safe recruitment, positive handling, and we also undertake audits as well. Now, this topic of safeguarding is extremely important. We know internationally now there's been so many challenges when it comes to safeguarding children. But safeguarding goes beyond just safeguarding children. It's about safeguarding our community. It's about making sure that the culture of the school, the values of the school are adhered to. And also now with AI coming into effect, is ensuring that our staff across the school know what their responsibility is when it comes to safeguarding children and the community as well. So I'm going to start with Darren with my first question. Darren, how can schools create safeguarding strategies that address both legal requirements and international best practice, especially in multicultural environments?
Well, firstly, it's a great question. I'm looking forward to the rest of the panel contributing to this as well. I'm a firm believer that all policies, practices that you do, whether it's at a school level or elsewhere, are a reflection of wider society. It's kind of going back to what you just said before, Zen. So the community actually also has to be showing and reflecting that they are valuing safeguarding. So the importance of healthy and safe environments and the protection of children and healthy, happy habits and all of those kinds of things. Here within the Kingdom, you may or may not be aware, but there is actually a child protection law that's been around for about 13 years. So the Kingdom has determined by royal decree the standard by which child protection is to be adhered to, and it's not just within schools, it's also at home and in the wider community. So I know at a MARF level we actually drew on that legal requirement as part of building our child protection systems and frameworks. And then there is obviously that subtle cultural context that needs to be taken into consideration as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Tracy?
Yeah, it's for me, I come from a perspective from an independent company where I've supported head teachers when things haven't gone so well, and the common theme that we found there is that prevention rather than cure. So it's really educating themselves on the policies, what does those frameworks look like, but also looking at an international perspective as well as looking at being able to do the prevention rather than the cure, bringing the community and all the staff on board as well.
Well, thank you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy, and Zen and Darren, as you were saying as well, policy, and for me, yeah, it's policy, 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 and to ensure that, especially for Doha British School, that we have a consistent policy that's continuously reviewed on an annual process for all students, be it a safeguarding policy, but also those additional policies with regards to e-safety, child protection, anything in relation to recruitment as well. So it's, some people might say it's a minefield, but it's ensuring that that policy is implicit, that everybody is up to speed with that policy is shared, and it has to be, according to our accreditation bodies, CIS and BSO, on our website. So it's ensuring, as I say, the communities of the students, most importantly, but staff, so that's not just teachers, that's our learning assistants, that's our administration staff, parents as well are aware of those policies and explicitly that safeguarding policy, and it's outlined really clearly the processes that are in place to ensure that safeguarding is taking place at the school, but also outside of the school, be it when it's trips, when students may be participating in sporting events and all different things as well. So yeah, really important, those practices.
Thank you, both. For me, I mean, the schools that I've worked with in the past, strategy and having a safeguarding strategy is of utmost importance. However, what it boils down to is how are people actually understanding the strategy? How is it then executed? What are staff understanding about your safeguarding vision? Your mission when it comes to safeguarding. We all talk about vision and mission of a school, but what about the mission when it comes to safeguarding? Why are we doing what we're doing? And when we are in this multicultural society, we need to make sure that the strategies, the policies, the procedures, the systems that we have been translated into the language that staff understand. So Arabic, for instance, is not the only common language that we speak in our international schools. We might have Tagalog that's spoken, we might have Hindi or Urdu. There's many, many languages that are used, and we have to look at these common languages, and we have to look at how staff are understanding what we're actually talking about in our strategy and ensuring that is then executed. Now I'm going to start with Simon with my next question. With the rise in AI and digital tools in education, what new safeguarding risks should schools be prepared for?
Yeah, thank you, Zen. And as I said earlier, it's a real minefield, isn't it? And AI is changing, as we know, lots of enthusiasm behind it, changing not just on the daily, but by the minute, it seems to. And as we've seen today in different presentations, it's not just about the ChatGPT and those algorithms where that information comes from, but lots of other AI sources. And of course, ensuring that, I mean, as a policy and that e-safety for our students, especially at Doha British School, that the teachers will use certain approved AI tools, and again, continuously assess the use of those AI platforms, as well as have different firewalls put in amongst the language that's being used or coming out within the school environment. Of course, that can be contained within the school, but again, I talked about earlier about outside the school, and I think that's how we try and workshop with students and workshop with parents as well, the use of AI and the appropriateness and point and direct students and parents and staff as well, of course, in the right direction for using appropriate AI tools.
Thank you, Simon. Tracy?
Yeah, it's we're seeing more and more sort of cyber security at the moment as well, so where young adults especially are quite more vulnerable towards it. And what we've seen in our practice is very much so with young adults oversharing, possibly on social media, where they are a lot more vulnerable. And when we look at cybersecurity data protection, it's been able to educate our young adults as well as our teachers as well, I think, in keeping them safe. But like you said, it changes daily at the moment. We personally work with cybersecurity teams within my work, and every single day they're having to monitor their own businesses and companies because of the change that's happening quite often. So when I'm working directly with my clients through the cybersecurity teams, it's the educational piece, keeping themselves safe. What are they sharing and how are they sharing it too?
Well, thank you. I'd just like to add something in there before I hand over to Darren. I mean, with things like deep faking going on now, and there's people editing or students editing images of teachers and making videos of teachers and posting them online, the risk is now more higher than it ever was. And unfortunately, we're getting a lot of educators now saying, well, I'm an AI expert. But unless you've been studying AI for the last 15 to 20 years, as it's evolved over the last 15 to 20 years, you can't name yourself as an expert. So the reality of it is, we're all learning on the job. Right? Some of us are doing it faster than others, and that's what it's about. It's about making sure that we're educated on the trends, we're educated and we're well informed when we're speaking to staff and our students as well. Darren, over to you.
I actually really struggle with this. I'm not sure if other people are okay. This it could be a product of my childhood, my upbringing, how I was brought up and where I was brought up. I lived a life of actual intelligence, not artificial intelligence, so I actually don't believe that I understand that it's a tool and it's here and we have to accept that it's here. We should never, ever be using any type of technology or AI for anything other than a tool to assist learning that's actually going on in the classroom or the school environment. It should never be ever used to replace that human element and the human connection piece, because if we ever get to a stage of that, then we may as well give up on humanity in its entirety. So it's a minefield. I feel like it's a runaway train that we have even with education and everything, we're educated to something one day and there's something brand spanking new that's happened next day in this space and we have to be re-educated in again. And I'm not 100% certain how we actually properly catch up to it, to be fair. I'm hoping that there's some kind of a stabilising thing that just naturally happens within society, down the track. But it's a really tricky space.
Thank you. Tracy, I'm going to talk about burnout now. How can DSLs be better supported in their role to avoid burnout? Because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, there is. And what we've found over the years is that when we look at prevention rather than the keywords, being able to support staff in elevating their emotional literacy with their debriefing sessions as well, and understanding the way their own mind works, that if they have come across a safeguarding incident and if it is impacting them, do they understand and know how to debrief at the end of the day or debrief with another colleague? Have they got a buddy system going on in the workplace so they can have those conversations? Peer groups as well, that they can sort of bounce off from different schools as well to understand, how they can support themselves. But it's most definitely the educational piece that is very important to them. We've done quite a bit of work in Wales actually with some schools, some special schools where throughout the days their safeguarding incidences are extremely high, and we've gone in and supported them with end of day debriefs, and it's just 5 to 10 minutes where they can release some of the tension, but they're safe to be able to open up with their peers, but as long as they know they're safe to debrief, to let go. But then it's the next steps. What is the next step for them as well, so they become solution focused with it, so it doesn't end up as burnouts for them.
Simon, what's your school doing?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it's a really important topic, isn't it? Thinking about our DSLs, our designated safeguarding leads, and potentially different safeguarding issues that they have to go through and deal with, whether it's on a daily or weekly basis. To try and again mitigate that burnout, it's definitely about networking and that support. And earlier I talked about BSME, British Schools, Middle East. I know our DSLs, they support each other across the cluster of 3 schools, but also within the BSME network. So lots of support, whether it's with regards to confidentially, but getting responses, how they deal with the situation, or even about how they're feeling. So it's having that personable side to it. Again, lots of schools, and the same with DBS, we have our counsellors, and the counsellors aren't just for wellbeing counsellors, aren't just for students but for staff as well. And I know that the DSLs can always reach out to them, and just being conscious of that. And as SLT, especially the principals for each school, do weekly check-ins with the DSLs, not just about issues that are going on, but also check-ins with themselves.
Well, thank you. From my side, in a lot of the schools that we're working with now in Dubai and Abu Dhabi are actually sourcing external counselling support. So they've got collaborations with counselling services outside, and the DSLs will visit them as required, especially when they've got serious case that's ongoing. They have that support, so they can then vent and they can then share how they're feeling as well. What we've actually done is we've also launched at our education facility, we've launched a support service for DSLs where they can come once a month, and this is available to international schools as well. So if you have any DSLs, do reach out to me after the session. Where they come, there's people that join online, and we share our challenges and we get support. And we have a peer support service that's available there confidentially, where the DSLs can come and share how they're feeling and any cases that they have that they need support with.
Yeah, we might do it slightly differently at Marif. We don't call them designated safeguarding leads, we call them child protection officers. Tomato, tomato, it's essentially the same thing. And in the framework that we use, it's the CIS model actually. The child protection officer must be an existing senior leadership member of each school, and safeguarding is actually a strategic rock. It's not just something that you do, it's actually something that you live by at a school level. So, notwithstanding that leaders don't also need support as well, someone who's already at an executive leadership position at a school who's having difficult conversations and having to deal with all sorts of things is probably a little bit better versed to be able to cope with those kinds of things that might be coming their way. They also don't work alone. We actually have child protection committees, so there's actually teams of 4 or 5 people in each school who have actually dedicated time and energy to child protection. So they have their own people that they can actually also talk with as well. And obviously the superintendent of the school as is needed as well. And I technically take on the role as the Chief Child Protection Officer, so we also provide that level of corporate support in that child protection space as well. So they certainly don't feel alone when they're actually doing this work at a school level.
Thank you. And Darren, I'm going to stay with you. What are the practical steps that schools can take to improve early identification and intervention in cases of child protection?
Ooh, checking out for the warning signs. This sort of ties in a little bit with positive handling, which we also take our staff through in their training as well. It's essentially important for our homeroom teachers in particular, but teachers who spend a lot of time with students, they have to know their baseline behaviour. We all have the same behaviour 95% of the time. So our teachers in particular need to know our more bubbly students, our more quiet, our more reserved students, and know what they are 95% of the time, so they can then watch out for the warning signs that are associated with that change in their baseline behaviour and identify what that trigger is, to use the Kaplan-Wheeler model, to identify what that trigger is and actually then try and resolve that trigger using some of the positive handling techniques to resolve it and try and intervene in that issue early on before it escalates.
Thank you. Simon?
Thank you. Yeah, definitely, again, go back to Doha British School, but with any school, it's about instilling trust within the community, that community of trust, be it from students, staff, parents as well, being able to whistle blow and identify, because your students, your staff, they're all the people that see the other students or staff on a daily basis, and again, they're the ones that can confidentially, again, go to the DSL and highlight any concerns, and always say, just report everything, because you just don't know. It could be nothing at all, or it could be something, or it's something that over time you realise that it is something more important as well. So we actually use My Concern as a platform for reporting any safeguarding issues, and that's what we try to do. And again, just posters around the school, so again, students, staff, parents are all aware who those DSLs are and how they're contactable, either via a QR code, email, and school telephone number.
Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, it's I'll mirror what you were saying as well, but it's also, like you say, keeping communication open, isn't it? Building that community of trust where young adult staff can feel comfortable to have those discussions, and like you say, Darren, with the baseline of understanding and knowing your team members, your young adults, your children, to understand what, if there's a change in the dynamics, what is the change, who can I speak to regarding it, and like you said, it doesn't matter how small it is that there's a safe place to communicate that information to.
Thank you. And if I could just add something there, what I've always found is that teachers don't often have the confidence in the system that if they do report and they are, that there's something that's actually not wrong, they feel that, okay, they might be penalised. So it's about instilling confidence in staff. What we want to do is identify, early cases, and we want to intervene and provide that support there before they get even more serious. So teachers should have the mentality that not what if I'm wrong, what if I'm right, how can I improve life for this child? Now I'm going to start with Tracy. How can we ensure that schools, when they're delivering safeguarding training, it's not just a tick box exercise, it has a real cultural change?
Yeah, I think this is down to staff education as well, is that the education that you're providing is done on a frequent, is quite relevant, up to date, and it's done frequently as well. When I was in school, almost many moons ago, safeguarding was something that was always talked about in staff meetings on a weekly basis. It was on the agenda, and it was just openly discussed every single week. And we were in a small school, we only had 11 staff members and about 28 sort of support staff members. So we had the time on that agenda. It only took about 5-10 minutes on there, but we could say any little thing that was going on, it was expressed, it was talked about, so we were used to talking about it. It was just natural for us. Anybody that was going on training, safeguarding training externally, they always brought that information back and they spoke about it. I suppose now you've got in-house helps that we can upload information to, but it is that ongoing assessments, ongoing training, and keeping those communication lines open too.
Thank you. Darren?
I actually echo all of that. It's about embedding it in your school's culture, and not just having it as kind of like a standalone thing. It's literally something that you live and breathe all the time, and that training is just an extension of what you're actually living at a school level anyway. So that way it shouldn't just stand out as something that you're kind of just plugging in at varying stages. It's just part of your DNA. It's what you actually live and breathe by.
Thank you. Simon, what lessons can we learn from international use cases that have happened internationally?
Yeah, Zen, good. I was going to add to the previous question as well, just again echoing what Tracy and Darren were saying, but not to make safeguarding fun, but what we do, we have like a weekly quiz or case study, what would you do, and it's emailed out to staff and they respond, and then the answers given as well, so it's kind of, I wouldn't like to say it's a fun thing, but it's just something that gets people thinking. But internationally, you're right, and it's about being aware internationally of safeguarding issues that have happened, be it, and I go back to, I know we talked a lot about students, but recruitment, and I think there's a lot of work that has been done, thankfully, over the past even 5 years with regards to ensuring safer recruitment and international recruitment, and unfortunately, as Tracy was saying as well, you've been in teaching a long time, and over the past 25-30 years, previously we've heard of examples and cases of teachers being able to get jobs internationally in other places, and unfortunately things, safeguarding issues occurred. As I said, there's those links now, isn't there? So again, as we're in a shrinking world, as people say, that those connections, those recruitment, that safer recruitment processes, getting those references, but those phone calls to those principals, and having all that paperwork, be it a DBS, be it a police check, be it from any other country, that it's certified, and then within country as well, to ensure that you have those safeguarding checks in place. That's, I feel, internationally with recruitment, it's really good.
Thank you. Darren?
Well, I know for us here, obviously, we're a large organisation and recruitment's ongoing, and we have a combination of local and international hires. I think a focus needs to be pushed away from just recruiting for technical skill and recruiting for attitude and recruiting for cultural connection, and are they the right person culturally for the school, and also is the school the right person for them, because it's a two-way street. So I know at Marriott we're moving less towards the technical side of things and more around those behavioural things, and then picking up on people who might actually have been attempting to come to us from parts of the world that are known to be areas that are hotspots for issues in the child protection space and things like that. And again, the HR staff in our organisation have had to have upskilling and understanding as what comes with international recruitment, not necessarily is a necessary need in local recruitment. So we're just constantly evolving that as a company.
Thank you. Tracy, I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to move on to the next question and start with yourself. In what ways can student voice and participation be integrated into safeguarding systems to make them more responsive and relevant?
We find that especially young adults these days, they're just so knowledgeable as well, and we can utilise their knowledge to support us on occasions as well, like school councils, enabling them to participate within assemblies, to upskill other people, and to also enable them the voice to sort of upskill our staff members, to give them the opportunity to build their confidence and to enable them to share that knowledge amongst themselves too.
Thank you. Simon?
Yeah, good, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier about that student voice and having that community of trust. But I felt just to add to what Tracy was saying is having those platforms or opportunities to communicate, be it directly or anonymously as well. So whether it's a suggestion box, a digital QR code, being able to speak to a member of staff directly, or it's a standing agenda item on that student council weekly meeting, just to reiterate again the importance of safeguarding and to potentially tease out any issues that may be arising as well.
And if I can just add there, student voice and listening to what students have to say is highly important, and allowing them the opportunity to say what they need to say in the safe space. Last year I did some research for edtech, and we were talking about well-being, and what research showed and what we found out during our project was that those students who had the best relationships with the teachers were not only happier in themselves, but they were achieving more academically as well. So it's really important that we allow students to voice any concerns that they have, and we provide the platforms and the opportunities to share how they're feeling, how they feel that the school will actually improve. What can we do as leaders to help you actually support each other and provide those peer groups from within, and have that student voice in place. Darren?
Yeah, completely agree with all of that. In addition to student opportunities to refer their concerns, whether through suggestion boxes and QR codes, we do all of that stuff as well. We run student safeguarding awareness sessions across all of our schools that is either done by the child protection officer or a member of the safeguarding team or the superintendent. They generally have a student representative who's also co-facilitating that session as well, so the students are hearing from a peer or their peers when it actually comes to that, so we find that that's a lot more empowering as well. I also visit the schools, all of our schools, 3 times a year, and I actually collect my own data from students. They have an opportunity to sit with me, and I use it old school, it's a piece of paper and a pen, there's no electronic footprint, anything like that, nothing stored in the cloud. I still don't understand what the cloud actually is, but I hear it termed all the time. And they give me feedback about how they're feeling their school is going through their eyes from a health and safety and child protection and a wellbeing space. And so I give that survey feedback back to the schools with recommendations for improvement. So we've been doing that for about 1.5 years now, and you can see that children coming to those sessions are starting to feel a lot more empowered and a lot more encouraged to be more vocal and open and honest in the feedback they actually give back to their school.
Thank you. Now I'm on to the last question, because I'm conscious of time. So Tracy, what key tips and advice do you have for schools in KSA?
Oh, I think it's just coming back to education. It's keeping communication open, building upon the knowledge that you have also. But coming back to the other question as well about the international side of things, we have so much knowledge within the schools as it stands. When you've got new teachers coming in, you know, the background, the cultural background, it's learning to understand which country did they come from, what information can they feed back into the school already, and it's understanding the knowledge that you already have, but also building upon that internationally as well.
Thank you. Simon?
Yeah, thank you. Again, I go back to a lot of what we said during this panel discussion, starting off with policy. You've got your policy, that gives you your instructions, and those clear instructions for your whole school community, all stakeholders to fulfil with regards to child protection, safeguarding, and safety as well. Not just stemming from policies, but those workshops, ensuring that everybody is informed, again, that whole community, and then reflecting as well, support for your DSLs and for the whole community and school environment, awareness, and reflection, and just to finish off, there's lots there, to report, so that you're reporting on whatever platform, and giving that opportunity to report any concerns.
Darren?
Thank you for letting me know what the question was. I said it earlier on and I'll echo this. Safeguarding isn't just something that you do in schools. Safeguarding has to be something that you are. If you're just doing it, it'll become a transactional thing. You'll collect some data, but it won't actually inform any genuine improvement, and you won't make any genuine change. It has to be part of the fabric of your school. It has to be part of your DNA. It's what you live and breathe every single day. And ideally, you adopt a holistic approach. You don't just focus on just child protection. You also have to focus in on occupational health and safety, and making sure that the physical environment of your school is a healthy and safe workplace for everybody to actually be getting around the school. And then you've got to make sure that there's social and emotional health, not just for the students. It's got to be for the staff as well. There's a lot of data in science that tells you that staff well-being directly impacts on student well-being. So if your staff is the custodians of the children's education and not feeling the love and care and connection from their school, in particular school leadership, they'll pass that unhappiness on to their students. So it's making sure that you live and breathe it every single day. It becomes part of your why, to use Simon Sinek, as opposed to just your what.
Thank you. And from my side, I mean, I echo what colleagues are saying, but I'd like to add there that we are in KSA, we're in the GCC, and safeguarding, as much as we want to safeguard our children, we want to safeguard our community. What works in the UK, what works in the US, doesn't work over here. So we can't just say, okay, one size fits all, this is how the system is in the UK, here you go, follow that system. We're in the GCC, we're in the KSA, we have cultural values to take into consideration. We have religion that plays a big part in many of our students' lives. We have staff from all over the world. We've got international staffing bodies. Everyone has a different understanding. So we need to link it back to values. We need to make sure that safeguarding is our part of our culture, but we also need to make sure that our values and our culture is part of safeguarding as well. Thank you so much for watching today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
used to teach at the Harvard Business School. And her talk is very interesting. In the talk, she discusses some professional and personal issues quite compelling. But the key point of her entire presentation was this. She says, we have always known that our emotions influence our bodies.
Hello, this is Ahmed. I'm from ADO Voyage, Enriching Education with Travel. We are a traveling management company. We are handling the students' international trips all around the world in purpose of taking the students beyond the classroom to enrich their culture and also to do their programs to make them try the life experience of the curricula they are studying at the classroom. And if you look here, you can see that there are our IT World company, which is our mother company, and you can find all the programs we have here with a live slaps of the videos that we have taken for the students over there. We are located here in Riyadh, in Khobar, Dammam, and also in Jeddah. We have multiple headquarters around the GCC areas. So I hope that you can connect with us on ADO Voyage, Enriching Education with Travel, for any concerns or any questions. You can also visit us here at GESS G53. We will be happy to meet you. Thank you.
So you know this space before. Did you ever resell it?
If you teams sit together, make teams, make some teams, okay?
Yes. Hi, I'm Gareth from Worldwide Teaching. We specialise in placing qualified teachers from all over the globe to work specifically in British, IB, American, Australian curriculum schools throughout Asia, Middle East, Europe, South America. We take great pride in getting to know our teachers and our schools to find the best fit possible.